Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video talking to you about this Ruger 57. Now I know I'm late to the game as far as videos on this thing, however there's something different going on the end of this thing that the astute among you may have already noticed, although it's probably been in the thumbnail already too. That is, I think will help make this video a little bit different and give me a couple different talking points that may not have been covered as thoroughly up to this point as in other videos. Now, this is not going to be what I would call a formal review. This is going to be more of a product feature because I don't have a ton of rounds through these guns. I have maybe 300 to 400 rounds through Ruger 57 pistols in total in both this example and one other one. However, given the availability of 5.7 ammo, that's just kind of the best we're going to be able to do. Now, this Ruger 57 specifically was provided to me from SilencerShop to be able to do a review of several 5.7 rated rimfire cans. However, I figured this thing kind of deserves its own video so that I don't make the otherwise long video even longer on the rimfire cans. But I also think that this is an interesting enough pistol to again warrant its own review. So for those of you who don't know my relationship with SilencerShop, basically I work for them in the capacity that they send me reviews to, or they send me silencers to review. I test them, I evaluate them, and then I send them back, and then that cycle basically continues. It allows me to get my hands on a bunch of cool stuff to be able to review and bring in front of the camera for you guys, and then also allows them to be able to market their silencers with a little bit more diverse of an experience set by allowing reviewers to give their opinions on it. So that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the Ruger 57 pistol. Now, the bulk of the shooting footage that you're going to see and the bulk of the shooting I've done is not going to be on this example here. It's going to be on a standard non-threaded version, how it would come out of the box. That is one that I tested for the store where I work, Mazama Sporting Goods in Eugene, Oregon. However, this one here is going to be threaded, so let's just go ahead and start there. The standard barrel, again, is going to be a regular non-threaded barrel that's going to end right at the end of the slide. However, this version has a thread adapter on there to be able to run suppressed. That definitely changes the characteristics of how this thing is to shoot, but we'll probably cover that a little bit later. Let me finish going over the features. As far as the sights on top of this gun, we have a fiber optic front sight, helps allow light to come in and draw all your attention to that front sight. However, you do get limited performance in low light or no light conditions. The rear sight is all blacked out, however it is also adjustable, so you can better zero this thing for elevation and windage, which can come in handy when you throw a silencer on a gun like this. This thing is also pre-drilled and tapped from the factory for adapter plates to be able to run optics, which is something that makes this thing a little bit more unique in the world of 5.7 chambered pistols, specifically against the FN 5.7, which does not allow you to do that. This gun also feels more like a gun, I think, than the FN 5.7, but we might talk about that a little bit more later. Now, you do have an ambidextrous safety on this gun. Again, one of the other things that I think makes it better than the FN 5.7. Very 1911-esque. If you're used to safeties on really any pistol, this is going to feel very familiar, very intuitive, and again, the fact that it's ambidextrous is really nice. You do have also your slide lock and release. It is a little bit more recessed, and especially with the safety in the location that it's in, it can make it a little bit harder to get onto, but definitely not impossible. Even with my little Whopper Junior hands, I can do that just fine. And then disassembly is going to be pretty standard with their little disassembly lever up here. We do also have a full accessory rail, so if you wanted to mount lights, lasers, anything like that to it, you have a plethora of options available to you up there, including stuff like the TLR9, like the super long boy, would probably look really good on the front of one of these. Now, the trigger on this thing does have your kind of standard hinged trigger safety, just to allow this thing to be more drop safe. Let the inertia of the trigger when dropped allow this gun to fire, which is definitely a good thing. And the magazine release is going to be a little bit further forward than a lot of us are used to, and that's simply a byproduct of how long the round is. In order to fit the magazine in there and have a traditional magazine release that a lot of us are used to, has to be a little bit further forward. So for me, that means having to rotate the gun in my hand to be able to remove the magazine. Now, the gun does come with 2 magazines, both of which are metal, which is definitely preferable, in my opinion, to the FN57. I said we'd talk about the differences later, but I'm basically going over it as we go here. I'm sure the FN57 mags are fine, but the fact that these ones are metal just instills a little bit more confidence. And again, I think that's a good thing. The magazine capacity is 20 rounds, at least from the factory. If you live in a free state, that's what the magazines are going to be. I've heard that there are companies doing extensions. I don't have any experience with those. However, I can tell you that the 20 round factory mags have been flawless for me. Again, through about 300 to 400 rounds of 5.7, both suppressed and unsuppressed, and mostly unsuppressed, they have been flawless. So that is definitely a good thing. I don't know how they hold up in the long term though. Now, as far as since we've kind of gone over the outside here, let's go ahead and talk about the trigger a little bit. The trigger, I think, is pretty decent for what this gun is. Has quite a bit of travel and quite a bit of creep to it, but it does have a nice break when it does finally go. It's just kind of hard to predict, and the reset is a little bit longer than what a lot of you may be used to, but again, not bad by any stretch of the imagination, again, especially for the type of gun that this is, in my opinion. Now, as far as accuracy goes, I have tested this thing with a few different types of ammo, namely the 27 grain and 40 grain FN branded ammo, as well as the American Eagle full metal jacket ammo. And especially with that American Eagle stuff, these things, at least the examples that I have shot, shoot extremely well. I'll hopefully be able to roll in footage from the time I tested this previously, but I was legitimately impressed by how tight my group was shooting that American Eagle ammo, especially since a lot of people say it's not as good, quote unquote, as the FN ammo. However, these things seem to really like that ammo, which is good because it's also cheaper. Although all 5.7 ammo is ridiculously expensive right now, so cheaper is definitely a relative term. So that is all fine and dandy, no complaints there. Definitely by not any stretch of the imagination, especially shooting with iron sights. Now, getting into the part that I'm sure a lot of you were watching this video for in the first place, how does this thing shoot suppressed? So just for sake of completeness here, I'm gonna go ahead and thread on the Ruger Silent SR, which is kind of what started this in the first place. How does this thing shoot suppressed? So first of all, it looks good. I think every gun looks better with a silencer on it, maybe with a few exceptions. However, this is a weird gun to shoot suppressed. Typically when you're shooting suppressed handguns, you might notice a little bit of spitting back in your face every now and then. This thing feels like you're getting a blast of hot, gassy, particulate-laden air every time you pull the trigger. And I'd been told that by one of our regular customers that comes in the store. He told me he got a threaded barrel for his Ruger 57. He told me that when he shot it, it felt like he was getting hit by a blast of like a fan every single time he fired it. And I thought that was kind of weird until I shot this thing, and it was exactly the same. Like every time you fired it, looking down your sights, you got a blast of hot air, and that was something experienced by every shooter I put it in the hands of. I made sure every shooter I put it in the hands of definitely had good eye protection on, because you felt it every time. It felt like it would have blown my hair back if I had longer hair to be blown back. It was Definitely different and definitely not something overly pleasant. However, the sound quality was pretty decent. I was also impressed by that, how well this thing shoots suppressed as far as reliability goes, and the, excuse me, and again, as far as the sound quality goes. So,
For what we have on the books for, Kurt's like, well, how much is it on the books for? $1,100?
that was pretty neat. However, not something I want to do a ton of because of the blast of hot air coming back on my face every single time. It's hard to articulate. It's kind of something you got to experience. However, you probably don't. However, if you are going to do it, you definitely absolutely need to be wearing good eye protection when you do it, because you're getting, again, some particulate matter like unburned powder and stuff, and just like oil or whatever else from your gun back in your face, and it's not a good time. But it is always cool being able to shoot a gun suppressed. So take that for what it is. And I did try this thing with 2 other rimfire silencers. I tried it with the Dead Air Mask HD and the YHM Phantom 22. If you want to know more about those cans, I compared all 3 of them together in another video for SilencerShop, or that SilencerShop facilitated, I should say. So definitely look for that on my channel. I'll probably have a link to it at the end of this one. So overall, I think the Ruger 57 is a really neat pistol. Not everyone is going to want a pistol chambered in 5.7. However, if you do, there's not a ton of options on the market, and the one that kind of started the trend, the Ruger, or the FN 5.7, is not an overly impressive pistol to me. Again, to me, it feels kind of like a squirt gun. It just feels really cheap when you pick it up. And then I hate the location of the safety being out front for your trigger finger to activate up and down. I much prefer the more traditional safety on the sides here. I appreciate FN trying to innovate and do different stuff, but to me this just works a lot better. But that's going to be more subjective. And then I also like just the integrity of the magazines and all that. And these things come in at like half the price of the FN 5.7. So all of that adds up to what I think is a better pistol for half the money. Now again, I don't have longevity tests of this. I can't say what this thing will behave like after a couple thousand rounds. I know there's FN 5.7 pistols out there with that and possibly more ammo through them, but I can't speak to the longevity of these just because, again, I don't have one, and especially I don't have the ammo to facilitate something like that. But in my limited experience, for what I see as something mostly fun for the range, this is a really, really cool pistol. And again, if you're in the market for a 5.7 by 28 pistol, the one I think you should consider above all else. If you have any experience with the Ruger 57, definitely let me know in the comments down below. If you have shot one suppressed, definitely let me know if you experienced the same type of thing that I did. It's worth mentioning that the majority of the ammo I shot suppressed through this was that 27 grain FN ammo. So maybe it's better with other types of ammo, but I highly doubt that. But definitely let me know if you have experience doing that. Probably not a ton of you, so definitely share that below so people can get as diverse of an experience set as possible. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and throw that in the comment section down below. Try to get back to you as quick as I can. I want to again say thanks to SilencerShop for helping to facilitate this video. Again, check out the video I did on those 3 silencers. If you're interested in shooting cool stuff suppressed, SilencerShop definitely makes that process easier than anybody else on the market. I literally walk someone through it almost every day, if not every day at work, and we're getting new people into it. And again, SilencerShop makes that process super simple. So definitely look into them if you're in the market for one, and their prices are also pretty stinking great too. I also want to say thanks to my patrons for helping make this possible. While SilencerShop does compensate me for doing videos like this, the support I get from Patreon definitely makes it easier for me to get a couple boxes of 5.7 to be able to run through this and those cans. Because of that, I post all my content over there early. We do some exclusive content. We have some like live streams. We have a Discord server. So if any of that stuff sounds interesting, or you just want to financially support the channel, definitely follow the link in the description down below. But anyway, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.